Bienvenidos, figuras, a este nuevo episodio de su episodio favorito y su podcast favorito, Play Sports Podcast. Y en esta ocasión estamos en Anaheim, California, en el United Soccer Convention, y tenemos la oportunidad de platicar con el entrenador de fútbol de la Universidad de Stanford. Cuenta con más de 29 años de experiencia en el fútbol colegial. Ha quedado 5 veces campeones del NCAA. Él es Jeremy Gunn. Jeremy, after a brief introduction of yourself, I have to excuse myself for my Spanglish. So we want to this podcast to learn more about yourself, where you're from, how old you, your basic information about yourself.
Good, yeah, my name's Jeremy Gunn, head coach at Stanford University. 52 now. I was born and raised in England, moved around a lot in England. I'm a mad Leeds fan, unfortunately. No, and came over to the States when I was offered an opportunity to come play collegiate soccer over here. I'd played at pro clubs as a youth player, but also played other sports. And I was thinking of going to university, and just got the opportunity to come to California. And it was when Top Gun, the original one, was out and in the movies, and one of my buddies says, "You got to go out there." And so nice. I came out just for, basically I had an intent of coming out for half a year just to have a bit of fun.
As a college guy?
As a college student athlete, and then I was going to go back to university in England. And I just loved it so much that I ended up staying.
In which college, in which university?
Yeah, I should plug that, California State University in Bakersfield. You know, as a pasty white English kid, I was asking the coach, will I get a suntan? He said, you betcha. It was 105 degrees every day of pre-season, and I nearly died with running around in that heat. But no, it was magnificent. So I was a player at Cal State Bakersfield. I studied business. After playing, I stayed on and played in what was called professional. It was before the MLS, so it wasn't that high of a standard. But what I did, I stayed on as an assistant coach with my college, with my coach and mentor, Simon Tobin. And I started my master's degree and did my MBA. And then I would disappear for part of the year and go keep playing. So
professionally?
Professionally, but like I say, I think professional insinuates you're getting a lot of money. We definitely weren't getting much money. My ability as a striker, well, that's questionable. And the good thing is there's not as much video left from those days, so I can say whatever I want about my playing career.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I was there with Simon as an assistant for 7 years after playing.
Okay.
Then I moved out to Durango, Colorado, up in the mountains, 7,000 feet up, at another Division II school at the time called Fort Lewis College.
Okay.
I enjoyed, I think, 8 great years there. Then from there, I
as a head coach?
As a head coach, yeah. It was my first job, head coaching. I was very young still. Yeah, some of the players were almost my age, you know. It's crazy.
Why?
And
you graduated young?
I was just a young coach, yeah. I was a young coach, and they were older players at the time, because the rules in Division 2 were different than Division 1. So that's other subject. And then moved out to Charlotte, North Carolina, on the East Coast. And I was there 5 years. And then 2012, moved out to California, back to California, to Stanford University. And so I've loved being a part of soccer. I can't imagine being involved in anything else in my life now.
And Jeremy, how this passion about soccer began in England? How was the first time? It's a theory that when we are young, about 9-10 years, we fall in love with our hobby, with our passion for a rest of the life. So, can you tell me a common day of Jeremy in 9-10 years old?
I can go much younger than that. I had 2 older brothers who are 5 and 6 years older than me. We didn't have a lot of different things, so the most important thing we had was a soccer ball or a cricket bat and ball, any type of playing. And so we just played, you know. And so, you know, people talk about being a natural competitor. I disagree maybe with being a natural competitor. I think your environment really shapes that. And we just played all the time and competed all the time. And so just from a very young age, we were just always playing in the backyard or at the local park, and just grew up playing soccer. And obviously I was exposed to things earlier than most kids, having older brothers. You know, the younger brother always gets to see more things. And so I remember going to Ellen Road, I think when I was about 6 years old, when Leeds were really good. It was at the end of that period. And then, no, it was just my whole extended family. It was tribal. You're a Leeds fan. And so there wasn't a choice.
But you intended to play professionally in England or no?
Oh, at that age? Oh, you dream about those types of things, you know. And
yeah,
so that was always an inspiration. But, you know, I got to about... I was actually doing quite well in another sport, and I was doing well in that, but I was still playing soccer all the time. I had chances to leave school at 16 to go be an apprentice, but they were at some of the very lower professional clubs in England. And so really, if you're going to be an apprentice at a really low club, chances are, if you're not making it, you're left with pretty much nothing, you know. I think if you're going to be an apprentice at a Liverpool, Man United or whatever, then there's lots of opportunity. So, you know, I chose to stay on in school at 16. I'd had a bit of a knee injury that kept me out for a year as well at that time, and so it kind of kept me on a little bit more of the academic path than maybe some of my friends who did leave school early, you know.
Okay, and you told me that you are a striker. Why a striker?
I thought I love scoring goals. I love scoring goals. Yeah,
really?
That was it, you know, and I just loved the part of that, and so I started off as more of a winger originally.
Okay.
But you know, and then I evolved into being a centre forward, and I just loved that part of the game. I honestly, when you look at the great players I get to coach, I think their touch is so much better than mine was. The cleanness of their passing is so much better. But I had good instincts, and I had a desperation to score. Okay. And so I was quite good at scoring goals. I wasn't much use at anything else, but I worked hard and I competed, you know. Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of those things that I try and pass on to the great players I see their technical abilities, their incredible athleticism, and I just desperately try and instill in them that desire and that possession, that passion to want to score goals, you know.
And for you, now moving forward to the States, for you, what triggers in your head to stay in the States? You told me that you want to go 1 year and then go back to England. What triggers that to stay here in the States?
That's an easy question. Go outside right now, look at the blue sky, look at the palm trees, and then go back to where I'm from right now.
It will be...
The rain won't even be hitting the ground. There's too windy, so it's just going sideways, you know. No, it was just a different way of life. I think, you know, I'd encourage anybody to explore different countries because it opens up your mind to so many things. No, it was just it was a really cool thing that in the US you can really marry education and sport. And so it was a very special opportunity that I think has always been very unique. You know, being a collegiate soccer player, being a collegiate athlete, you really get the best of both worlds. Now, if you're good enough to play for one of the top clubs in the world, make millions and do all of that, and you're on that track at the age of 17, 18, absolutely go do it. But I think when you start moving down the leagues, as much as you can have the dream of being a professional soccer player, you get to continue to pursue that dream while in college, and you're in an incredible holistic environment. You're in an environment where you continue to grow socially, you mature in all different ways, you continue to get educated, and you get to still compete. And the very best players that come through our system do move on and become very, very successful professional soccer players too. And so it's just a different model than the rest of the world, where most people are probably leaving school at like 16 if they want to pursue being a pro, which means by the age of 12 you're kind of already switching off academically because you're thinking that you have to be tunnel vision towards being a pro, which I get that mentality. I understand it. I just think that you absolutely can grow in very, very different ways. that are going to allow you to be a great pro, or to allow you to be a great family person, allow you to be a great CEO of a company or a worker in anything, really.
That's true. I have been interviewing in the past years a lot of persons. For me, the student-athlete life here in the States is one in the world. Nobody has that kind of student life and athlete, and like your team, the highest standards is very good. It's closely to a pro team, right?
Absolutely, and when people talk about behaving professionally, I kind of say we want to be high performers. You put the pro label to anything, that doesn't mean it's good or bad. There are incredibly good professional environments, and in my opinion, incredibly poor professional environments. It's about how people are treated, the day-to-day life, all of the different things. There's a huge spectrum, and so what we look at is can we create an environment of excellence? Can we create an environment where everybody is constantly driving to be their best? And you don't need the pro title to pursue things in that way. You need that buy-in of that contract of saying that we're going to be as good as we can be in whatever we do.
So right now you're in Stanford, right?
Yeah.
One of the top Division 1 teams, right?
We try to be, yeah.
I know. Can you tell me the struggles or problems that you face day by day by being the head coach of one of the most, prestigious, or the people are waiting that Stanford going to be in top of the league? What regular problems that you have?
Yeah, I like to reframe it so we all have problems, but can we call those challenges, and can we embrace those challenges with everything we do? Nothing that happens in my job is anything like the real struggles that people have in other jobs.
There are different struggles, right?
Exactly. We just have an amazing thing. I mean, we're working with young people in the best years of their lives. They do daft things. We get challenges. When I say problems, I have lots of frustrations. Trust me.
I believe so.
But it's just a day-to-day thing. We're trying to create a balance for people's lives where they're working hard on the pitch and in the classroom.
Okay.
When you first enter Stanford, it's really intimidating. You're in meetings and walking down the corridor with a women's basketball coach who's going to have won 12,000 games now.
Okay.
Who's a legend. You're working with the best in the business in so many sports. If Stanford was a country in some of the Olympic Games, if we took all of our current student athletes and past athletes who are competing, Stanford would have come 7th in the Olympic Games as a country.
Wow.
So when you look at that, you're in the dining hall with a person like Andrew Luck, who was a top quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
Just you're surrounded by amazing people, and you definitely can start off with that imposter syndrome, and you look around and you think, wow, I don't belong here.
Okay.
I certainly don't belong there academically. The students there are way smarter than what I was. I was way street smarter, though, I'll tell you that for free.
Sometimes it's better that.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd beat most of them in a street fight. I wouldn't beat them in the classroom, that's for sure.
And tell me, what do you like the most to be in the coach of Stanford?
Oh, the most incredible thing is just so many people around you. I truly believe in wanting to grow constantly. And I am surrounded by incredible people all the time. We have amazing facilities. It's a great place. During my tenure as a coach there, we've hosted Juventus with Antonio Conte. We've hosted Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp. We hosted Man United with Louis van Gaal. We hosted the US national team with Jurgen Klinsmann. I am surrounded by incredible people, and so as much as my ego likes to think that I'm pretty good at my job, I like to think that, but I am surrounded by people every single day, the coaches of the other sports, the athletes around us, the professors there, I know that I can learn special things from people every single day I'm there, and that is just absolutely amazing. It's just paradise as far as that goes.
Wow, nice answer.
Yeah.
Nice answer. I like your answer. So now talking about soccer or football, as you like it to call.
Yeah.
Which will be your style of playing? If you can describe your style you're looking to your team to play, what will it be?
You should have come to my session yesterday.
I was here.
I always like to. I look at people that fit with my identity, and I love the way Liverpool play under Jurgen Klopp. We play with intensity. So, if you were to look at those typical styles, I think the incredible Barcelona team under Pep Guardiola was amazing, but we've never tried to emulate that type of possession-oriented play. We play vertically, we play high octane, we play with intensity. So in the US, the Philly Union, they play that type of style. Red Bull organizations play that type of style. And so if you look at, I always say this very bad generalization about styles in the world. I always say the Spanish see the game as like a beautiful oil painting, the Italians see it as an opera, the English see it as a fight, and the Germans as a well-oiled machine. We go, that's a very bad generalization.
No, but it's true.
But if you're looking at styles of a Jeremy Gunn team and as our Stanford team, think of that well-oiled machine, and with that keep fighting mentality. Absolutely. The salsa con huevos was what the coach that I had years ago told me that. I was like, I didn't know what that meant at the time, so I apologize. But
no, that's fine.
But no, and so that's the identity we have, intensity. And just to finish on that, I don't ever think there's a right or wrong. I don't ever think that anybody has got the right answer. What I would say to all coaches is create a style that is authentic to you and authentic to the environment you're in. At Stanford University, we had the brightest minds in the country. We don't have a lot of bohemians. We don't have a lot of artistic type people.
Free thinkers or
absolute critical, analytical. They get into Stanford University because they are task oriented, they're hard working, they're competitive. Show me what to do and I'll go do it. And so the idea of being a well-oiled machine fits Stanford, and it fits my personality. Being fighters, competitors, high octane, intense, that fits my personality. And so we recruit players towards that model, and we have that as an identity that when people play our team, they know they're playing us. It's pretty consistent.
How many times you came champion with Stanford?
We're national champions 3 times. And we've had an immense run. It's always so difficult.
It's working, man.
If you think, when you talk about the challenges, toughest challenge for me, honestly, is living with the past. I have to live in the present. And just be like, we just had an amazing season. We're ranked 5th in the country at the end of the year. We finished in the Elite 8. And it's not good enough at Stanford,
Yeah, you have to be
I'm surrounded by national champions in all different sports. It's frightening. Women's team just lost in the championship game. They've, and so you're surrounded by excellence. Now, it's a tough weight if you look at it that way. But I just have to always draw a line behind every day that's passed and just go out and
move
say,
forward.
How well can we coach? How good can this group be? We've got an amazing young group right now, and I love working with them, and they have some energy. They have our identity for sure.
Nice. And after you describe the way that you like to play, can you describe the player you were looking for? If you are in a night camp or seeing videos of the newcomers, what you're looking for will be this is the guy.
I mean, everybody wants to see a complete player, both physically, tactically, technically. So as good as you can be in all of those categories, which I think is kind of obvious, that you want to see a great athlete who pace is uncoachable. You want to see somebody who's a master of the ball, who's so incredible on the ball that they can do special things with the ball, and you want to see people that understand the game. But I'd say what really starts my recruiting, I like to go inside what's inside of the man first almost. I want a mentality. I want somebody who is hardworking, who is competitive, and then somebody who also has the humility to desire to grow. And so those things, if I can recruit somebody who's hardworking and driven and competitive and has what we call a growth mindset, I know they will really improve and they will really prosper in our environment. If somebody just thinks they're special and likes to think their ability can allow them time off from working hard, we generally don't click very well, And so, and especially in the modern game and the type of identity we want, I need people who want to work, because whether we win or lose, I want to finish the day going, we've done everything we can. And if we've done everything we can, we've been successful regardless of the scoreline. So, and so, when you have players that they kind of switch off and they don't work as hard, we can still work and we can still recruit them, but in the recruiting process, they will know that way of doing things isn't going to fit with us. Okay. You're going to have to grow to meet our standards if you want to be playing with us.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
And so it's really easy to talk about standards. It's very, very challenging to set and maintain standards.
The standards,
the special player, we let him get away with things,
Oh, okay, Romario style.
Romario. Hey, I saw him score a couple of goals in the Maracanã, and wow, and he did stand around a little bit, but he earned that privilege at that time. Yeah. Look, if a Romario was available, I would have different set of rules for him. Absolutely,
Own house.
But this is it. You see, we are a college team. We are tied at the hip together. We're so dependent on each other's training habits and each other's mentality that really drives everything. I just love to see people as well that take chances. I love to see people that don't dwell on the past. And that again comes back to how we play. It's okay if we give the ball away, if we're willing to counter press and go win it back. So I don't believe in perfection for soccer. I think it's such an imperfect sport.
Of course.
I think some teams in the world have come close to what we could consider perfection.
A brief time.
Yeah, but they've spent millions and millions on getting the best players on the planet and put them together. So it's unrealistic for me to even think we can come close to that. So we can be really, really great, and I'm happy to have the trade-offs of all of the mistakes, all of the situations, all of the transitions. I'm okay with that, so long as you have the mentality. We call it a next play mentality.
Next play.
Doesn't matter what's happened. You cannot choose where you are. You can always choose what you're going to do about it. So
about the next.
If you score an incredible goal, next play, work hard. If you miss a sitter, next play, work hard. Whatever it is, constantly driving forward all the time.
Perfect. I have to ask you a special question. We began this academy as a goalkeeper-driven academy. Lots of our fans in this podcast are goalkeepers. I know that sometimes goalkeepers can be crazy. I know that some goalkeepers can be the leaders of the team. I know that with a good goalkeeper, the chances to be champion is bigger. What will be the thing that most you were looking for a goalkeeper in your team?
Let me start with this. I was a striker, so by default, I hate goalkeepers. And I always say it with a smile on my face, and I say it to all the keepers I coach. And I cannot run anymore. I can still shoot. So I talk a lot. I talk a lot of crap to my keepers. They love it. I love it.
Nice.
But again, it's teaching competition. I'm talking smack. Let's go for it. Let's, we have little games that we play with the coaches against the keepers and everything. It's awesome. But so on that point, yeah, I'm the enemy. But no, I'll get back to a couple of things. But goalkeepers, I always say you've got to be either extremely brave or extremely crazy. I think it's the toughest position on the field by a long way. As a striker, I could play terrible for the whole game. A ball would bounce off my backside, and I'm the hero. A goalkeeper can play amazing and have one mistake, and it just destroys them, And so it is the toughest position mentally. So I think you have to be a good goalkeeper, you have to be very, very mentally strong, and also you have to be able to deal with that environment of that everybody's going to notice you when you do something wrong, and they kind of take you for granted when you're just doing your job, where that's not typical for most people. A striker can be doing nothing the whole game and nobody even pays attention, So it's very, very difficult. I have the utmost respect for goalkeepers. My sons will definitely not be goalkeepers. I'll get back to that as well, because there's a little bit of a good story there. But
okay.
But no, so when you're looking at the goalkeeper position, I think some of the most famous coaches in history, even 40 years ago, would talk about to build a championship team or to build a great team, you have to start with the goalkeeper. Because they have such a big influence on the game, yeah. Now, obviously, the role changes even more today. We're putting even more demands on goalkeepers. But no, it's a tough position. I'm not sure if I fully answered your question. I forgot the last part.
No, yeah, and for you, you answered perfect the question. For you, the footwork of the goalkeeper is basic. Is like a most important thing, or one of the most important things. When you pass back to the goalkeeper the ball, do you like to long balls, or you like Barcelona play?
A complete mixture. But I would definitely say this. I look at it and say, don't take unnecessary risks in that position. And so, for some coaches will say you have to play. But we're a press team. So if a team wants to play from the goalkeeper, we actually look at that as an exciting opportunity for us to try and score goals. And so
because you're pressing up,
very aggressive.
Okay.
And so for our goalkeepers, we've had amazing goalkeepers, but I start with their ability to stop other teams from scoring, rather than starting with their ability to start our attacks. And so we will let goalkeepers hit it bigger. It is interesting when you look at the stats, even with the Premier League, the best players in the world, when the goal kick rule changed, lots of teams were really, really building short and passing in their own goal area. You are seeing more teams hitting the ball again now, because so many teams are very good at pressing. Styles are different, but so for us, a goalkeeper, it's a non-compromise for you to be able to save shots and do the traditional form of a goalkeeper. I'll work with whatever type of keeper we have with their feet, because we can't have everything. And so
you have to sacrifice some part, right?
And I mean, because again, you want to look at a Pep Guardiola. He took over Manchester City. There was a very, very good goalkeeper there, English player, but his feet weren't good enough for Pep, so he signed somebody new for millions. His feet aren't good enough, so then he signs another person. We're not in that situation, so I can't.
And that possibility, right?
And let's face it, the keeper that was he's a world-class keeper. Now, other people with styles would say he's not good enough with his distribution, but in the he would have been in the top 20 keepers in the world at the time, or top 30, I don't know. And so we don't have that privilege to be able to absolutely hand-pick the full package from the entire world.
Because they are students, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
They are not pro. If they're that good, they will play in pro.
Eventually, yeah. But again, it just so we do have some limits in certain areas, and so the way we play will factor in some of those limits for sure.
Nice. You were telling me my kid's not gonna be a goalkeeper. Please tell me that.
Well, here's the funny. You talk about your Spanglish. So, my wonderful wife, her mum's from Guatemala originally.
Okay.
And so my whole extended family on her side are all Spanish speaking.
They speak Spanish.
My wife is American and Spanish speaking.
You understand Spanish? A little bit.
If you talk really slowly, I pick out the words I know. But this is part of the story. So
Okay.
I have two boys, 3.5, 7.5, Tomás y Sebastián. And Tomás, he goes to a Spanish-speaking school, and so he's
Spanish and English.
Yes.
Also, right?
No, it's interesting. They start off. They teach 80% in Spanish and 20% in English. Then the next year, 70% in Spanish, 30% in English. So he's in a Spanish-speaking school. Yeah. Like
in Mexico, we do it. We do. The other way. We do it in English and a little bit Spanish.
so the bad news for me is, I read his books that he brings home, the Spanish books. He goes, Dada, your accent's terrible. So I'm learning. I have my colors, I have my farmyard animals, I have everything you'll ever need to know. As a soccer player in California, I learned all the cuss words pretty early.
That's easy.
But so I'm learning and growing with that. But my 7-year-old has already overtaken me by a mile. But anyway, and look, by the way, as we're talking, that's a world-class goalkeeper there, Brad Friedel walking past. So there you go. But anyway, so my wife is shorter, and so my son is not going to be a goalkeeper, and he's definitely not going to play in the NBA at basketball. But this is it. It'll be more of a Gattuso type thing or an Iniesta. And so my wife wanted my wife wanted Spanglish names. That's why the boys are Tomás y Sebastián. And fun story. She says, "Oh, I like the name Cristiano," and I was like, "There is no way in the world I'm having a son called Cristiano." So you guys know which side of the best player in the world debate I'm on. But I actually wanted to call our second son Iniesta as a first name because I thought it would have been cool.
Really?
But she shot that down. So there you go. There you go.
Perfect. So, Jeremy, we're ending this podcast with a little bit of game. It's a Q&A game, that I do in every episode with my guests. It's gonna be I'm gonna tell you something, and you have to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. It's easy. Don't worry. It's easy. It's gonna be fun. Okay, the first one.
I'll just say goals to everything.
The past of Jeremy. Past times of Jeremy.
The past, as in history.
Yes.
Interesting.
The present of Jeremy.
Exciting.
The future of Jeremy.
Even more exciting.
Your mentor.
Andy McDermott.
Who is? Sorry, I know.
He was a youth coach at Arsenal for many years. I've had 3 really big mentors in my career. Andy McDermott, who was a youth coach at Arsenal. Dr. Dan Freegang, who was a great sports psychologist I worked with a long time. And then my past coach as a college player, Simon Tobin, who really taught me the value of hard work and just absolute desire to do well.
Nice, perfect. Your inspiration.
The players I coach, it doesn't matter how excited I am about anything. If they don't look excited, then I'm not happy. And so when I see the excitement and the energy from the players I coach, that's enough inspiration I could ever have. And then when I come home from a tiring day of work, my boys want to go in the backyard and kick a ball around. That's inspiring too.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, man. So, I don't know if you remember last year was a TV announcement about Peyton and David Beckham, Peyton Manning and David Beckham debating if soccer is football or football is soccer. For you, is football or soccer?
It's absolutely soccer because I live in America. Just simply because for years when I first got here, I was ardent about it's football. And, you know, people say, what do you do? I say, I'm a football player. They'd look at me and go, you're not big enough. And so I just got bored of explaining, no, I mean real football, I mean world football. I just got bored of it. And so because I work at a university that has an incredible American football program, we are soccer. And in America, I know people want to have football, soccer, football, whatever, but it's just easier for me to say soccer. It's just, that's why, you know.
Yeah, of course. Where you are is where you call it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Pelé or Maradona?
Has to be Pelé. I'm English.
And you
he
know,
handballed that goal.
Yeah.
He ruined one of my summers and a lot of my childhood. That being said, actually, Maradona was just a magician, and I was left-footed. I believe all the best players in the world are the left-footed players. So
we have said in Mexico that there doesn't exist a bad lefty. that we said in Mexico.
Yeah.
Left-footed, not bad. The other question: Messi or Cristiano? Messi.
You know, I have the utmost for Ronaldo with who he is and what he does, but I just love Lionel Messi. The players I would recruit would probably look more like Ronaldo, but Messi, sublime. And I love his personality. I love he just exudes a humility with who he is as well, you know. I could share some really bad jokes about Cristiano Ronaldo, but I would get kicked off the air, so there you go.
The best goalkeeper of all time? For you, of course. For you.
I don't even...
No? Even better.
Buffon would be right up there, and I got to see him train and play, so yeah, he'd be one of them.
The best forward or striker for you of all time?
Let me answer it a different way. A striker I looked up to growing up, Gary Lineker.
Nice
Fox in
player.
the box, and just an incredible finisher.
Yeah.
You know, the number of runs he made in the box, it was immense. You know, there was one video I saw when I was really young, and it was like the phases of play, the cycles. His team basically had 8 attacking motions in a row, and every time he made the run, and the ball was never delivered. The 8th time he made the run, the ball delivered and scored. And so I just looked up to him. I could talk for hours about all of the great strikers in the world, but if you wanted my inspiration as a player, Gary Lineker at the time. Yeah,
nice. If you were a pro player right now, which team do you would like to play?
I'd be on the bench.
No, if you were a pro.
Which team would I like to play for?
Yes.
As long as my brothers don't hear, I'd say Liverpool. Because again, I have to say Leeds, but I would love to play for Jurgen Klopp. Absolutely, because he fits who I was, the work rate, the intensity. That would be a fit, yeah.
Perfect. The next question, which coach you would like to play with? The answer is...
I would say him for sure. There's so many great coaches out there, but Klopp would be the hands down. I loved Sir Alex Ferguson as a coach and emulated a lot of what he did. But I grew up as a Leeds fan. We were not allowed to wear red in our family. I was 40 years old. I took the job at Stanford, and it was the first time in my life that I'd worn a red shirt.
Really?
I swear.
Wow.
And what's funny, I proudly posted on Facebook, I'm in my coaching gear, it's red, black and white. one of my older brothers immediately, get that effing Man U crap off. And I'm there like, delete. You know, I was panicking. I'm at this fine institution, and one of my brothers is cussing at me online. I thought, oh no, I'm going to get fired.
The next question. Back in the 90s, in the MLS, or they used to be MLS, they used to have shootouts, remember?
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to choose between penalties or shootouts, we will you choose?
To truly decide a competition, like
final.
I'd be okay with shootouts. Yeah, I would. I think it would be fun. We did
More
a version
fun, yeah.
of that when I was back as a player, and it's actually quite difficult. And
As a striker?
as a striker, yeah.
With a good goalkeeper in front, yes, it's difficult.
And that it was an interesting one because getting put through one-on-one on goal, I didn't really like that as a player because it went through my brain, I'm supposed to score. That's not good, but that's what went through my head, and I kind of didn't like being put through one-on-one in those moments. I much preferred the instinctive one-time finishes and those types of things because there's nothing going through my brain at that point other than connection on the ball.
Yeah, so hitting the ball.
Yeah, and so the shootout dribbling, it's really difficult.
And the pressure.
Yeah. And it's because you can make such terrible mistakes.
The penalty for a goalkeeper is like I don't know, the paddle when they shoot people to death. It's like the goalkeeper have little bit of chances to make him save.
Yeah.
But okay. Next
But in that, the goalkeeper, I think every goalkeeper can be excited about a penalty shootout.
We love that.
Because they can win the game. And if the ball goes in, they're not criticized in that moment, you know. Whereas the dribble up shootout, I think it makes it a bit more even. And you can now critique the striker and the keeper.
And the keeper,
yeah.
Perfect. If you gonna win the world champion of soccer, you can choose one. 0 goals or by penalty shots?
Penalties.
More exciting, right?
Yeah. and we've done well with that over the years, and we prepare for it. Look, I'm English. I grew up with my World Cup experiences and European Championship experiences being destroyed by England being terrible on penalties.
In penalties, yes.
And I would listen to coaches saying it's just a lottery, you know, it's just chance. And I was no. And I was, as I was growing as a college coach, I had some really tough situations with getting knocked out on penalties. And so we went, right, we're going to become good at this. And we put in tons of work, tons of research, and actually went through a stage of 9 penalty shootouts in a row that we won.
Wow.
And
Nice.
then I actually ended up talking to some pretty high-level people about it, about how wonderful we are at it, and then, of course, I lose the next one. So always be humble.
Yeah, humble first. Well, if you have to choose one characteristic of the goalkeeper, it has to be good on the feet or good in the air. Long balls, like crosses and everything.
Wow, that has to depend on what environment you're in, because if our keeper isn't good in the air, our opponents will exploit that. So I'd probably have to choose good in the air. The reason being because we can't choose whether we have to compete in the air or not. Our opponent chooses that. We can choose what the goalkeeper does with the feet. So I can control what we do about how good somebody's feet are. I cannot control over if we have a lack of ability in the air. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. A lot of sense.
Yeah.
I never see it that way. It makes sense a lot.
Yeah.
2 more questions. Can you remember the best staff that you have had in your years of college? Like, this guy is I remember him, or is the best that I had. I know you have a lot of stuff with you about the years, but it's like we make such good chemistry, a good team.
Can I not answer that question? For the simple reason I've had so many incredible people. If I were to answer it, I know just being on the spot without writing it down.
Don't worry.
I'd miss out too many people. I am so fortunate. I'd like to take credit that I've surrounded myself with great people. So I'll take credit that I made some of those selections. But I am so fortunate to have had my life shared with so many incredible people, so many incredible coaches that have moved on. If you just look at the current college game right now, Kevin Langen, who I had an amazing relationship with at Charlotte, he's the head coach there, doing incredible things. They're a top Division I program. Ogie Kennedy just moved on to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, a beautiful place there in Central Coast of California. We had 7 great years together at Stanford, did amazing together. And we also worked at Fort Lewis for a period a long time ago. And then John Smith at Cornell had a great working relationship with at Stanford as well. So I did answer in some ways, but
don't worry.
Please, I am so fortunate. There's so many of the other people. I've got a great staff right now. I'll be talking about how incredible they do at their new college programs in years to come. So I'll leave it as that.
Okay? That's perfect. For the last part, I've got to ask you to end this episode is to tell me like a phrase or something that identifies yourself, something that can get in the digital world forever. Sorry to do it.
You mean other than good-looking, cool, charismatic?
Like
phrase?
like something that you tell the guys before an important game that identifies you, that my coach always say that, my coach always things like that, is always telling me this.
A few, I'd say keep fighting always. That's next play. It's just that mentality that I don't care what position we're in, go forward, be brave, and just always keep competing, you know. I'd say earn the right to play. I think we're in a combat sport. It's 2 teams trying to stop what each other are doing, and so you have to earn that privilege to play on the ball. And so I think you have to show your level of competition to begin with, and then the more you can win that fight, the more you get the privilege to play the beautiful soccer that you want to play, I'd say.
Perfect. Beautiful. Jeremy, I have to thank you on behalf of myself and my students and the people that hear us. Thank you for being here, taking a little bit of your time. It was amazing, this talk. I hope you like it.
No, thank you so much, and it's great to speak with you. And who knows, maybe we can do this interview in a couple of years' time in Spanish.
You'll have to work in your Spanish.
I'll have to work a lot on my Spanish. I like that I have a really wide vocabulary in English.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between words, like you said problems, I think. And I said, well, they're challenges.
Yeah, challenges, yeah.
And that's where I don't know how coaches get the messages through with all of the different nationalities that they coach today.
Yeah, it's difficult, right?
Because part of my coaching, you say I've got a problem, and I say, well, hang on, it's not a problem, it's a challenge. Let's figure out how to do it. So
Spanish is problem,
I use language a lot, and so I know when you learn to speak a new language, you kind of reduce it to only a few words. So
yes,
when I see people from foreign countries speaking in all different languages, I'm just absolutely amazed and in awe. But I'll work at it.
Yeah, Sebastián and Tomás is going to help you. I'm counting on them.
They'll criticize me for sure. The Los Pistolitos, the little guns, you see. So, there you go.
Jeremy, thank you a lot. Don't go away. Give me a second. I'm going to say goodbye in Spanish.
Okay, thank you so much.
Figuras, muchas gracias. Excelente plática. Por favor, mándenme sus preguntas y cualquier duda que tengan para Jeremy y para nosotros. Como ya saben, en Play Sports Podcast, aquí estamos para contestarlas. Les mando un abrazo y nos vemos en el siguiente episodio.